This weekend, I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who belongs to a group out of San Diego called the Eden Group, which is a couples group to help strengthen the relationship of the couples, to help um, heal couples that may be struggling. But more importantly, it's actually couples that are really in a good place to build the deep roots of trust and commitment so it can sustain some of the bumps that do occasionally happen in relationship. And one of the conversations I had with a woman was what's oftentimes missing today with couples, and then I thought, well, let me take this into dating, is a level of commitment to the work. Commitment to the work. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of what happens in dating today. There's a real lack or ambivalence or naivety to the commitment to the work. And what I mean by the work is, you know, these days when we're dating, it's oftentimes, I think here particularly in the United States, but this could be true across the world, all over the world, is a real lack of there's this ambivalence, if you will. There's this, it's just about having a good time. You know, people mated in the past because there was a real reason for it. There was a bonding of families. There was a procreation to make babies so those babies can take care of you when you get older. And now I think we live in a society that's all about self-pleasure. Self-pleasure. Think about that. I don't mean pleasuring oneself, but it's all about self-pleasure. That the dating process is just a pleasurable process for some people, meaning it's about getting their personal needs met, whatever that might be, companionship, connection, or even sex, without any real desire to commit to another person, without a real desire to bond with this person and build a life with this person. So it's no wonder that the current dating marketplace is such a mess if there's no real commitment to the work. And so let's look at this, because women are guilty of this just as much as men. I think men are habitually guilty of this, but women are as well. First is getting a clear understanding. The first bit of work is getting a clear understanding of who is truly compatible with you. You know, we have this belief that if there's this amazing chemistry, well, we'll solve all our relationship problems. And yes, amazing chemistry is great and it's an important root for a relationship. But what's also important is, do we share the same values with this person? Is this person's lifestyle blendable with ours? And lastly, is this person in a good emotional place? Does this person have relationship skills to actually carry the relationship beyond the initial dating or courting phase? And I want you to think about that. It takes work to really get clarity on this. This is why in my private coaching, one of the things I help women with, because they all come to me going, Jonathon, I know what I want, I know what I want, I know what I want. And then they go through my proprietary coaching program, and can you guess what they say every single time afterwards? Oh my gosh, why didn't they teach me this in school? Why didn't my parents teach me this? Why didn't I learn this before I married the wrong person? Part of this equation is the initial work to get clarity on who you are, what you want, and more importantly, the individual personal development work to learn the skills. There's skills required to be good communicators. I hear women say to me the importance of communication in relationship, and yet many women are terrible at communication. And I mean to say as well, some women can vomit their feelings, and I just mean it's just throwing your feelings out there without any regard to, is it landing on this person in a healthy way? Yes, women might be capable of that, but real healthy communication to be seen, heard, and understood. Or what I see a lot of women do is they're afraid to communicate their thoughts and their feelings in relationships. So you say you want good communication, and yet you're fearful because you're afraid the guy might run away. Okay, so first is doing the individual work so you're better prepared to be in a relationship. And then the second piece of work, and I listen, when two people are closely aligned to each other, there isn't a lot of work in a relationship. The work is really sticking to the commitment you've made with one another to ride the storms. That's really the only bit of work. And then learning active listening skills and conflict resolution skills. That's where a lot of relationships get bumped off, because they don't know how to really navigate the little bumps in the road. So that's part of the work. Now, the other piece of the equation is then vetting the person that you're dating. This is why, again, coming back to my work and what I teach in my coaching, is I help women get a better sense of, is this person really capable of going into the deeper roots of trust? So here's the thing. By the way, ladies, there are some really great men out there. This last weekend, I was with a group of amazing men who have done a lot of personal development work, that have gone to therapy, that have healed their childhood wounds and traumas, or are healing them, and they're good communicators in relationship. I just want you to know there are lots of great guys out there. There really are. To me, women tend to study relationships more so than men, so I think that's one difference. Women watch videos and read books related to relationships more. But I would say, from a personal development standpoint, real self-help, I would say it's probably relatively equal, the amount of people that do work in this area. So if you're doing the work, then go to places where also men are doing the work, the personal development, the self-help, the spiritual work, because you're probably going to be, if this is work you're doing in your life, you meet someone else who's doing that work, you might, and if you share the same values, your lifestyle's blendable, you might be aligned with each other to navigate those storms, because commitment today isn't as necessary as it was in the past. And that's the real crux here, is a real commitment to, it's interesting. When my girlfriend and I, when we agreed we were going to explore a relationship, we really went in it with intentionality. With real intentionality. We are exploring this relationship for something long term. We said those words to each other, which was a commitment to each other to say, is this something that can work for us? We were mindful of it. We weren't just, oh, let me just see how it goes. Let's take it slow. I think when a guy says he wants to take it slow, for example, it's because he doesn't have a direction or a real intent to want to. Listen, I know it's difficult to choose who you want to make a commitment to. That's a really tricky thing, and it does take time to build that, because these days we're meeting total strangers. And we're meeting total strangers, it's hard to know who's really compatible with us. It really is. I have an idea. I would like to lock a couple into a room for 30 days. Maybe I'll come up with some title around the 30-day lockup. And for 30 days, you're with each other, and you're only allowed to have sex for a half hour in that day. And then you have to spend the rest of your time together seeing if you're genuinely compatible with one another. What does everybody think about that? Locking yourself in a room. I know you probably go, oh my God. And you have to do this before you have sex with one another. So, or maybe that would be just the part of the process, like that show Love at First Sight or something like that, where people are all in a home together trying to figure it out. Maybe there's some value to doing that. I don't know, I'm just playing here right now. But my point is, first off, how committed are you to finding a partner? And are you willing to do the pre-work ahead of time? That's a question. And then, are you really committed to determining if this person is a really good potential mate for you, instead of just the enjoyable pleasure? Because I think today we are more hyper-focused on the pleasure aspects of dating and not the real practical aspects of, is this person really suitable for me? Is this a potentially good partner? Now, this makes it tricky, because then you're all in your head. I get that. It's hard if you're all in your head and you're not really experiencing it all. And yet, if you're meeting a total stranger, I think we have to first figure out, if we're going to invest time with someone, is this a real good potential person to invest time? And I think through a few phone calls early on, you can get a better sense than just taking it cavalierly. And I think a good couple good questions to ask is, what does a relationship look like for you? What does commitment look like for you? Are you committed to wanting a fully committed relationship? And just ask a few questions along the ways. Is this making sense? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. Post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. All right, I think this will be a great place to wrap up for today. If you find value in our group, please tell your friends about Midlife Love Mastery. Send them to my website, jonathanaslay.com. Have them click the group coaching button so they can join our fantastic group. And I'm going to sign off this video as I always do. First off, giving myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrack of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.